This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
I think that was right. Okay. I'm going to call to order the meeting of the Southampton Select Board for January 20th, 2026 at 6:01 p.m. If we could start by standing and saying the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right, we have a quorum tonight. I'm not positive whether John is joining us or not, but we have the three of us, so that allows us to keep on going. Anyone here for citizen speak? Something that's not on the agenda? Yeah, come on up.
Bruce Bowman, 202 Pomeroy Meadow Road. I have two items for the Select Board and Scott to consider. Being new to Massachusetts still and new to how things work here. One item is the process of when the warrants come out and the amount of information that is available to the public when a warrant is available. The warrant comes out with all its articles well in advance with no substantiating documents as to why something may have entered into a warrant to be voted on at a town meeting. That engenders a lot of speculation and potential confusion amongst the residents. And I was just wondering about the appropriateness of, at the time that a warrant is published, that there's a town meeting coming up, if some supporting documentation could be there for each article that is being presented so that the residents can, in advance, know a little bit more as to the reasoning as to why something is showing up. So that's item number one, just for consideration. Number two, because we live in a small town and there isn't a town newspaper and communication is an issue, I was talking with some friends about the feasibility of putting up signs in strategic places in town analogous to a real estate sign. Different residents could potentially volunteer to post a sign when there's a town meeting coming up. And that way, I see on social media that there are a lot of people that are disinterested or upset that communication isn't better. But if signs could go up in strategic places in town saying town meeting this Saturday or whatever it is, and then it's up for a week and the resident brings it in, and that would be another way to get the word out and get more people engaged. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Both interesting ideas. Have to take those under consideration. Thank you. All right. Anybody else? No? Okay. All right. So with our agenda, we have a presentation tonight. However, unless anyone objects, I would like to move up one item on the agenda, and that's our PCF for our interim director for the library, Andrea LeClaire, because I know she has to go back to work tonight at the library. So given that she popped over here, Andrea, would you like to come on up and just say a few words about your background? And
I so move.
Yes, thank you. Sorry about that, yes. Do we all agree? Yes. Okay, thank you. We just put you up a little bit quicker in the order of the agenda. So give us a little bit of background, and then we'll take a look at the personnel action.
Sure. Thank you for having me. I have been the youth librarian at the Edwards Public Library for about 2.5 years now. And I've been working with Johanna Douglas, our previous director who just retired and who we miss, to hopefully follow in her footsteps and continue taking the library to some wonderful new places.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And how about a little bit about your background before coming here?
Sure. I've been in public libraries for over 10 years. I have a master's degree from Simmons in library science. I attended Mount Holyoke so many years ago and got my bachelor's degree. I worked at the Longmeadow Library, and when I moved to Western Massachusetts from Boston, that was a wonderful public library in a much bigger community. I've worked in all aspects of library work, from youth reference desk to circulation, and it's really a wonderful field, and I'm so excited to be landing here in Southampton.
Great, okay, thank you very much.
How long have you been on board?
Yeah.
I started in April of 2023.
Great.
So for three summers is the way that I think of it in terms of summer reading for
For
the
summer
youth
reading
department,
program
yes.
for the kids.
Great.
Yeah, right. Very good. Okay, thank you. We just wanted
Thank
to have a chance for people to meet you that may not have met you before. So, anybody have the PCF handy in front of you? Or if not?
I don't yet.
I'll use that.
It's coming.
Would you like to make a move? Oh,
Matt-
Ellen can make a motion. We got it right here.
I move that we act on the PCF, but
Yeah,
I don't
but
have
let's go
the
ahead and-
details.
Okay. What am I doing?
You're just going to read it. We want to appoint
So
Andrea.
move to appoint Andrea Leclerc to full-time as the
Interim director.
interim director of the Southampton Library.
Okay. And this would take effect
Effective.
as of the 19th. So right now, it'd take effect immediately, as Johanna has basically already retired. And this just, I lost one thing here, sorry. Right, so this would be interim director, 35 hours a week at $31.54 hourly rate. Okay, all those in favor?
Well,
Oh, second, sorry.
I think you've got a motion and a second if
Did I have a
you'll
second?
flex, yeah.
My second.
But however, discussion?
Aye.
Yep, go ahead, discussion.
The citizenry is very focused on the fact that there's a hiring freeze and we're in fiscal peril. And so I would like to have an explanation, I understand, but I'd like for the record about how this is a fiscally prudent step and not an aberration from a hiring freeze.
Okay,
Thank you.
sure. Scott?
So the 3154 is a step I-1, which is generally the next highest step of a person performing outer rank duty. So Andrea's going to be working as interim director for the next several months, while also the position she previously held is going to be vacant for the time being.
So we're not backfilling behind her, right? At this point in time, we've got to get through this fiscal year right now. And so she'll be filling in as the interim director.
Wanted that on the record?
Okay, very good. Anything else?
No.
All right. Okay, so we have a motion and a second on the floor to appoint Andrea Leclerc as the interim library director. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you. Welcome, John. Thanks. All right, so be it. It is. Yeah, okay, so we'll let you go back to the duties at the library. Yes, indeed.
Stop by anytime.
Thank you. Okay, I think, let's see, next up, we have a presentation tonight from basically the Senior Center Building Committee with support maybe from the COA board or whomever else is around. So I'll call on Janet, I guess. Come on up.
We'll start here anyway. Sorry. Good evening, I'm Janet Kane, 83 Glendale Road. I'm the co-chair of the Senior Center Building Committee and the vice chair of the COA board. Thank you to the building committee members and the COA board members for coming. I think I'd just like to call a joint meeting to order for both the Senior Center Building Committee and the COA board. Okay, officially. And again, thank you to the select board for adding us to your agenda tonight. It's been a while since we've been in front of you, so, or maybe never. It's been 5 months since the Senior Center Building Committee decided to withdraw from the special town meeting warrant our article requesting a debt exclusion to build a new senior center. The main reason for this change was a clear understanding of the challenges facing our town, especially the rising cost of insurance, and knowing that the general fund could not support another standalone building at this time. However, the building committee will continue to explore all options in town, including potential buildings that are or may be on the market in the future. We know that the funding needed, plus the taxpayers' appetite to support a debt exclusion for a new center is not feasible this year, and perhaps over many of the next years. The committee members do understand that the police and the fire department have major challenges within their current facilities as well. We hope to continue to meet as a committee as we help explore interim solutions for senior center. The current space in the center is not sustainable considering the growing numbers of participants. A need for a larger senior center still exists and will only continue to grow over the upcoming years. We will continue to explore through the Friends of the Council on Aging and the Grant Committee fundraising and grant opportunities. We are not here this evening to ask you for more money, but to collaborate with you on a viable solution for better space utilization within Town Hall and to help bridge the time between today's current challenges and a future standalone senior center. For example, we know that this room that we are all in right now sits empty most of the time during open hours of Town Hall. The senior center staff does take advantage of the space, but are faced with many restrictions due to the wiring and the large tables being tethered by the microphones to the microphones. Hopefully, you've had a chance to read our letter from December outlining some of the challenges, and I would like to ask Kate DeSanto, Director of the Senior Center, to share some of those with you and to the public at large. Kate?
Thank you, Jan.
Thank you, Janet. Hi, everyone. My name is Kate DeSanto. I'm the Director of the Senior Center and a resident on Fulmer Road. Thank you for your time this evening. As Janet mentioned, we are requesting to work with you to identify additional space within the Town Hall so we can better support the Southampton Senior Center community. I am proud to say that in 2025, we had a 20% increase in attendance, and requests for new programming opportunities have also grown. Several measures have been implemented and projects have been completed to alleviate some of the space challenges we face on a regular basis. These projects, which were completely grant funded through the Massachusetts Councils on Aging and the Executive Office of Aging and Independence, have allowed us to purchase a storage shed, convert an electrical closet in the senior center to create a private meeting space, as well as purchase ADA accessible furniture to expand our outdoor footprint at our main entrance, located at the back of the town hall. Despite these improvements, we still experience challenges within our space. Our regularly scheduled program offerings do not allow overlap with the potential events, as many programs cannot share space within the current senior center footprint. Room turnover is also becoming increasingly strenuous for our staff as we try to accommodate as much as we can within our business hours, while changing over the senior center room multiple times per day. That often includes stacking chairs, unstacking chairs, flipping tables, and setting up for additional events. Class sizes for programs such as Healthy Bones and Balance, chair yoga, line dancing, card making, and Friends of the Southampton Council on Aging luncheons have reached capacity on a regular basis, and we need room to grow. Our exercise equipment does not have a dedicated space for regular private use. It's currently located in the recently converted closet, as space was needed in the senior center. Having an additional dedicated space regularly available for the senior center would allow us to host additional exercise and strength classes, information and educational programming, along with a private space to host caregiver support groups, bereavement support groups, and opportunities for private counseling. Our goal with this request is to work with you all for the creation of a more flexible space, not only for the senior center, but also for the community. Figuring out the feasibility of a space would allow us to apply for additional grants or look for additional funding to support the flexibility of the room. We are here today to start the brainstorming process on interim planning to expand the senior center within town hall space while we wait to build a new senior center in town. Thank you for your time, and we would like to know if you have any questions or thoughts on how we can accomplish this interim plan. I would like to invite Janet and Dennis Vogel, co-chair of the Senior Center Building Committee and member of our Council on Aging Board, up to the podium to assist with any questions, if there are any. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Jen. Anyone have some questions or ideas, or?
We reviewed the letter in our last meeting, and we encouraged town administrator to continue work with Easthampton Media to perhaps make this room more usable to all, but especially with your needs in mind. That's only the first step, but right out of the chute, I was adamant that we take at least that. This room can certainly be multi-purpose. Beyond that, yes, we need guidance.
So with that, if I can turn to Scott, I don't know if you've had a chance to talk to
Great.
Easthampton Media at all and just give us any thoughts. I mean, but I'll just say for one, people can't see this, but I sit with I'm not even sure, it's more than an octopus. It's like 20 octopi of cords under my feet. And it's a miracle that I have not fallen down somewhere in the last few years or gotten tripped
Or
up. on
been
these things.
electrocuted.
Oh, that too. I don't want to go there. Anyway, just to say that there's a lot of wiring in this room that is in the way to make this even much more movable. But Scott, I don't know what you had a chance to talk to, if anything, with Jeff over at Easthampton Media.
Yep, so I was able to meet with Jeff about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and tour the different spaces, and I think it's really a matter of making the space more usable. If you look at where the podium is, you can't move the podium, there's wires that lead to that, so basically half the room is just not usable as a big space. As I'll talk about with the Zero College, I'm looking for a place to do the presentation, and if we're gonna have a big presentation here with the PowerPoint, it's awkward at this point because you can't set up chairs going this way to view the screen. Jeff did say, I mean, this was all, back of the envelope type of things, like he did say it's definitely feasible to, do wireless and redo the cameras. A lot of the equipment can be used. So this room would still be used, it will still be available to all the departments and select board for meetings and things like that, obviously. But if you're going to use the upstairs room a little bit more and put set cameras, it would probably be upwards of, anywhere from $40,000 to $50,000.
And that would be to dismantle part of this and make this wireless and then reconfigure something upstairs? Because right now that's just recorded upstairs, right? So.
Right. A lot of it has to do with wiring, and I suspect it's the signal that has to go through Charter is probably the biggest thing.
Okay. Yeah, because I think we have to keep in mind too that it's not, obviously during the day, this is usually
Right.
fairly empty. There's an occasional meeting, but we've got school committee, we've got planning board, at least those two that meet in person, usually here along with us. Concom, I think used to, I think they're meeting more by Zoom now, and community preservation does and so forth. So there's a few meetings that happen still here that I think we still want to make this room a viable room for people, committees to meet in. But yeah, any other comments, thoughts down there? John, any thoughts?
No, I'm open to it. I just need to see a plan.
Yeah, I know, figuring out how we do that. I mean, I think the challenge here, I think I'm probably just speaking for myself, but maybe not. The acoustics in this room in general and just the configuration of these tables, I think is a challenge whenever we have meetings in this room. I think personally I found it much more conducive to have a meeting upstairs in that room because we're a little bit closer together and it opens up the the possibility of more dialogue.
The only problem with that room is when you get a big turnout.
Right, when you get a big turnout, that's could be a challenge up there too. So, but I mean, that's rare for the most part. I mean, I know the Concom hearing the other night filled this place to capacity, if not more. So there are times when that happens, but it's the rare occasion rather than a regular one. So I think the challenge is just trying to figure out what would make sense. I mean, the podium's kind of in the way. If that were to go somewhere with all this wiring, that would be a start. But I think even these tables would have to be some sort of a more dismantled or movable situation, no?
I mean, something like the library has where it has those, it's more of a portable table setup where they can move for different functions. And if we had to have a select board meeting down here, then it would be easy to set up where we can do the 5-table configuration.
I see.
Get the tables similar to the lunch tables.
But
somewhere where they fold up and can be rolled over. They can go up in the big triangle instead of the side-by-side.
It's more in like the training room tables that you might see at like different like police stations and professional places where it's a little skinnier. Maybe something like that could work rather than these types of tables, so that we can configure it differently for different events. If there's like a fire department training or a select board or a school committee, or a joint meeting that has a lot of people, we could definitely do it that way.
Yeah.
I think even if we had tables that the Council on Aging could use, for some of the card games or something. I mean, we're bringing tables in and out when there's tables sitting here, but because of the wiring and the tethering of the microphone, and we're always afraid we're being recorded. No. But
You are.
you never know.
Never know. Can I just make a statement too?
Dennis,
We've been talking about large spaces, but Kate can tell you that there's just a need for her to have private spaces. Many times she's, with her shine responsibilities, these are all HIPAA-related issues that require, so when we're thinking about big spaces, are there some small spaces that people can use within the building?
Right. And it sounds like that reconfiguration of the closet to an office was the intent for that, but that's not really been able to be that usable at this point in time?
Correct. We needed to move the equipment into the closet, so because for many of our programming, especially for our Friends Luncheon, we were at capacity. And so to be able to host and not have to turn folks away, we had to be a little bit more creative with the space. I will say the heat was not working in that space, so it was easier to move the the equipment in there for a period of time while the HVAC was getting worked on in the building. But it's hard because even within that space, the acoustics, we need to put in more soundproofing for the panels to even meet in there, so that there is that HIPAA and the confidentiality needed within that space. We're working the best with what we have, I will say. I meet in here fairly regularly with folks, but again, it's not dedicated space, so it's checking to see somebody comes in. Unfortunately, a lot of times they walk in and they are just in a panic. We kind of come down to this room, see if it's available. If not, we check the upstairs conference room. We thankfully have an outreach worker who has her own office in the building because of her VSO role, but if she's meeting with somebody, it's figuring out where that logistical space, because right now we have 5 staff members sharing one office. So we're trying to be creative with where we're at. One thing I will say specific with this space, having the cameras and the live streaming would be such a huge benefit for us to be able to use, especially as we're trying to bridge the gap with our folks that can't make it to the senior center for added programming. So it would be a huge asset for us to also be able to utilize this space for things like that, for memory cafe, educational programming, book talks that we have. So we're looking to expand not only within the town hall, but even just with the resources that we're able to bring in through a live stream. So, or a recording.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, just like these types of tables are just easier to configure. You can either do like a big square, or depending if you have 20 people or 10 or 5 and want to do a U shape or a square, and then they just fold away. So this was the type of tables I was just talking about.
Yeah.
And that we don't need our custodian to always move either. We'd be able to kind of move them ourselves too. Right.
Yeah. Well, and obviously here, what's happening is not the custodian on these cases.
Right.
I mean, you and your staff, sometimes you're 1, sometimes you're 3, but you're dismantling tables and chairs and
Moving
setting them
furniture
back up.
around, yep, a couple times a day, so.
Yeah. Which I don't think
At
is
least.
necessarily ideal, for sure, yeah. I'm thinking too that there's a lot of wasted space in the hallway here too. So I know at some point we had looking at the big weights and measures cabinet there, which I don't know what could go there. If you had one of those equipment items, say the treadmill or something, out in the hallway, would people use it?
I honestly don't know. I think
You may have noticed the blue tape on the floor out there.
Tape, I was wondering what that was.
they will fit.
We did measure it out, but we weren't sure how many people would be, crawling all over it as they're voting, waiting to go in to vote, or,
yeah.
but we could also,
Safety-wise.
move that for that purpose. But I think getting it into the hallway through the doorway, we probably have to remove the door from the hinges and hope that it gets through, because we had a treadmill that was donated, right?
Yes.
And an incumbent bike, sort of.
That I believe was purchased by.
That was purchased by
the senior center.
And people like to do that, but they don't necessarily want to be, amongst everybody else when you're sweating on a treadmill or something.
Waving hi to the folks at the front door when they
Yeah, if there's a way to kind of close in somehow so that,
Partition something somehow?
that people aren't gawking. But I'd just also like to say that, the good news is that Kate has done a great job as a director, and she has expanded the programming, the welcoming, the warmth of the senior center. I think people just have started to really, really embrace coming here. Never in my life did I think I would go to a senior center when I moved to Southampton, and now it's my passion. So, but it's her fault. that we're doing.
Well, that's a good
expanding.
fault
It's a
then.
good fault.
What a sales job.
But I think, obviously you're getting to a point where you're really stretching the walls here in terms of what you can offer and the increased interest. I mean, if you've been able to increase 20% of attendance, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's individual, one-time
Individual.
attendance. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not how many times they
Right,
come
right.
or multiple attendance.
Right.
It's the number of people that actually
Right.
are participating.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's pretty impressive. And I know I was at one of the luncheons recently, and you were easily, 75 people thereabouts? So that's really tight to fit into that room as well.
And we had roughly 70 new members last year, too. So, I mean, it speaks to our staff. It speaks to even just like the Shine counseling and the outreach work that we're doing. It's fantastic that we have this many people knowing that we're a resource. But it'd be great to be able to expand to do additional programming. And I think, too, especially with some of the topics, whether it's the bereavement counseling or the caregiver support group we want to bring in, you can't have that in such an open space where folks are walking through the senior center to get to the parking lot and the accessible parking. You know what I mean? So having something where you can shut the door, have it feel like a more private space and more intimate setting would be hugely beneficial, especially on a more regular basis.
This fall, you did a lot, I know, with Medicare and insurance enrollment, and you had all of your, whatever, fuel assistance and whatever programs that you were helping generate there, or respond to. Any sense of how many people you were able to serve during that time?
So, that's a great question. So with open enrollment between Michelle and we had over probably 150 people that we met with, whether it be joint appointments or individual appointments, folks that returned. A lot of times we try and wrap up our SNAP benefits counseling along with fuel assistance. It's kind of just like a whole public benefits overview. This was Michelle's first year. She took the deep dive into Shine within weeks of her starting in the position, which has been fantastic, and it's been such a huge benefit. There was a lot of changes with Medicare and with the insurance landscape. Unfortunately, many companies canceled their plans, so there were folks scrambling come December 31st for July 1st. So we had a huge increase of individuals that came through our door that we've never seen. People coming from Agawam, and folks calling, asking if they could have their family come here that are from Southampton. It was nice because it's kind of like the word of mouth. Like my friend that lives down the street let us know that you were here. We've been getting a lot of word of mouth individuals, just folks looking for information. And the folks I mentioned from Agawam, they came for a Blue Cross Blue Shield presentation, which is great because it's here, it's in the area. But the amount of additional Southampton residents that we have seen in the past, it was over 100 in comparison to 2024. So.
I think what's interesting is that the senior center as such is providing so many different kinds of services. I mean, I think a lot of people don't think of it in those terms.
Right.
More people think of it probably a bit more socially than anything else, but in reality, these kinds of services where people can't get anywhere else, we've definitely grown into that role in the last couple of years. So.
And there's a lot of programs out there that are eager to help support senior center programming, like the local YMCAs. They want to get into the senior centers to be able to provide, especially exercise and balance and strength training and that type of thing, but we just don't have the space to bring them in yet, so.
Well, I think as John was saying, we kind of need a plan.
Yeah.
I think we need to get an idea of what's possible. I mean, I'm glad to hear that we've got some ideas maybe on some wiring and Wi-Fi, but we've got to figure out what that really would look like and what it might cost if we have to reconfigure this and how we would deal with that. And that may not be totally decidable, I don't know, until as we get into the budget cycle, if we've got cost implications there. But it sounds like there's also need for something as quickly as possible, in the interim between now and June. So I think that's our challenge, is to figure out what can be done when. And I don't know if anybody has any other bright ideas on that, but I think we need to just, take this as a serious request and figure out if we've got other ideas that might work on that too.
I think there are a huge number of things we can do creatively for the smaller spaces. Obviously, it gets harder for the maximum space. You've got my curiosity working, and I don't think we need to work the nuts and bolts in this meeting, but we'll circle up with the town administrator and figure out how we can accommodate everyone's needs.
Yeah, and I think the more we can try to make the rooms here more multi-purpose in general, so that they're more fully utilized during the day. I mean, I would think that that would be a goal that we ought to try to strive for, whether it's down here or even upstairs, because that room upstairs is great, but it's the go-to room when this one is occupied. But it can be, more fully programmed and used, I think, in many ways, too, if we put our heads to the wall here and
I think
figure
there
it out.
could be some simple things too. I'm just looking at
Yeah.
this podium that cannot be moved. It's not glued to, it's just the wiring going from here to there. If we could move this podium up there, it would give them so much more room in this room to do some, just
wiring
maybe
is still
little
gonna be
things
there
like
for a
that.
bit.
It's not nailed to the floor there.
Yeah, no, the podium's not, but it's all the
Right,
wiring
it's
that
right.
connects through there,
Right.
that's the problem.
Or you could just shove it up under with you. You take care of it.
Yeah, right.
And then we can look down at you on our
Just keep on going back. Very good.
I think
Well,
if
yeah.
everybody in the room could take a chair, make a circle, and put your arms out, that's our yoga class.
Right.
And there's just not enough room. So this is about the number of people that would be in our yoga class, and we sit in a chair and we try to figure out how, I mean, it's a great balance, it's great, it's a great exercise for us as we age. And it just gives you kind of a concept of the limitations. And we were guilty of trying to move the podium a few times. And
I made the
hence
sign.
the signs now here. The rogues in the group,
That's the
right?
signs, yes.
One thing I will say is if there's any tangible financial, if Easthampton Media provides any additional information as to what it might cost, I'm always looking for grant opportunities to apply for, so I'm happy to keep that open. We've been lucky, especially with our MCOA grants. We've received a little over $40,000 in the past 2 years that we've been applying, so hopefully the opportunities are there again this spring, but I don't want
Show me
to
the dollar signs.
miss an opportunity to apply for something that might be beneficial for the town, so,
Sounds good.
thank
Okay.
you.
I think our mission was accomplished tonight. Thank you, because
No, I
we
think
just
so.
wanted to open up the discussion and
Yeah, I think this is the beginning of a dialogue, and maybe we've got a beginning of an idea, at least starting with some of the wiring issues, and that may be a big chunk of it to sort of think about what can be done and how soon, and what it might entail, and cost-wise, et cetera. So let us keep that in mind, and I know Stephen will be doing some continual brainstorming here. I can attest to that already. So we will take that under consideration here, and then maybe figure out another time when we can get together another
Thank
few
you.
weeks, okay?
We appreciate it.
So thanks for coming in, appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks for enlightening us into the situation. I had an idea, but didn't have an idea of how much, so. Okay. Next up, Town Administrator Report. Scott, you want to?
So just to let everyone know that the central office, they did post their budget. They had their,
Oh, I'm sorry, sorry. I'm sorry, yes, sorry.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second? Thank you, nobody wants to adjourn. All in favor? Aye, thank you.
You can still stay, you don't have to go.
They don't want to leave.
I guess. Okay, yeah, sorry. Thanks.
so the central office has posted their budget. They did a presentation about a week and a half ago. I'll be putting up I just got the revised presentation a couple hours ago, but I'll be putting that onto the budget page. It's going to be about $650,000 towards Norris for this year, and I forget what the assessment would probably be a little bit more for the Hampshire Regional. So some of the cost, the forensic accounting is going to go down a little bit, but obviously the benefits salaries are going to go up. So the other thing is tax bills are set to go out this week. Town does accept online payments, and there's also a drop box at the bottom of the stairs out front for people to drop off by submitting a check. No cash in the drop box, please.
And when are the tax bills due? People have been asking that.
Encouraging people to do it as regular, but they're technically not due until May, I believe. Yep, the next one.
So we changed the deadline on that because they're going out late. So for those that didn't catch that, we had,
We didn't change it.
No,
Our failure to meet the date obligation says taxpayers don't have to pay it to the fourth quarter now. That's a penalty imposed by us because of what happened.
yeah, okay.
Okay.
I mean, but the date is not what people are usually
Oh,
assuming.
correct. I just want to make sure this select board did not change the date.
No. So the date
Austin
is
said
not what
we were in the
everybody
wrong and slept
had been
our hands.
assuming,
I'd
so.
like to underline the severity of this issue because real estate valuations just went out not so long ago. And I'm not going to jump ahead. The assessors are dealing with that. We were late because of our own town accounting in getting the tax rate certified. And that put us into this situation where we can ask but not demand third quarter payments in the usual manner. And that presents a potential impact to town finances if citizens see an offsetting benefit to their finances. In any case, they have a tax bill with a different amount due this year, and they're confused. And I have great empathy for the fact that people are confused about the difference between valuation and rate and taxes due and when they're due and when we get reminded, because I'm one of those people who gets really confused. And it seems like I'm always paying taxes. That's how we feel, and that cannot be denied. So the onus is on us to do a hell of a lot of education, and some of this is on us for back years of poor accounting. So just want to underscore that.
Well, and I would just underscore, too, that accounting that goes back a number of years.
A number of years.
It's not recent accounting necessarily, so it goes back for things that could have been and should have been caught maybe earlier on. But I think, too, we can do more with, on the, I was looking today on the assessor's website page.
Yes.
There can be more there to explain some of that difference that you were talking about of valuations versus taxes and how all that gets set.
And on the collector's side for the due dates. I checked that particularly, and
Right,
it's
yeah.
not.
So all those kind of things can be updated. And again, each of the departments has the wherewithal to update their own web page. So hopefully they will do
Chris.
that. Okay, anything? Yeah, John?
If I could just continue the pontification a little bit, because I really want to make sure this is clear, because it's been a hot topic about the bills and that, and I haven't heard anything yet. I'm assuming we're not going out to borrow, that we're going to be all right with our cash flows, but I haven't seen the cash flow, because that usually comes along with this. But yes, and when they say our town accounting, I want to be clear, that it's not the town accountant who is 100% responsible for this. I would put a lot of blame on our outside auditors who are collecting somewhere between $50,000 and $80,000 a year, that year after year after year, they failed to notice that our debt obligations were recorded incorrectly. That caused this. So it's, yes, ultimately the town owns this, but we pay a lot of money to avoid this, and it didn't happen. And now we're off to a fresh start, and we're going to do better. And there's open seats on the select board, so feel free to pull nomination papers.
There we go. All right.
You're ahead of me, brother.
Okay, John. All right, Scott, go ahead.
So we've had a lot of building malfunctions the last couple of weeks, just to keep you up, besides the septic issue in the bathroom overflowing, the septic issue of the pipe in the Council on Aging. We had our heat break for several days, and we also had the sprinkler, so it's getting costly, to say the least. So hopefully nothing else breaks for the rest of the year. But we do have to do some capital planning on this building very soon.
Definitely on the HVAC. I think we have to, we've learned our lesson, I think, in terms of the odors and so forth that have come through this building, especially from here down the hallway into the senior center. I mean, that was such that they had to actually close down because it was such a terrible smell in there. And now we've figured out where it comes from, at least, but it's a building fix that has to.
Figure out who's responsible.
Yeah, we have to figure out who's responsible on that one. Goes back 20 years. But anyway.
Question about sprinklers. Having had a business lose all of its capital equipment due to a sprinkler failure, was it one head or something systemic?
It was the one head underneath the canopy in the Council on Aging,
The outside.
and then the one
On the
before that
outside?
leaked. Yeah,
Okay.
on the outside, yeah.
Lucky, if there's deferred maintenance, it could be catastrophic. Insurance is there, but it doesn't account really for the downtime. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Insurance?
Okay, Scott?
We're starting up the FY27 budget, and I started the webpage for that, so if anyone that's interested in following the process, I would encourage them to look on that page where everything's posted, the documents, the videos, everything will be posted there.
That'll be the FY27 budget.
Yep. The new fire department utility pickup truck was delivered.
Oh.
Just to let everyone know. It took a little while, but I did distribute.
Is the old one gone?
I think it's rusting in place.
Okay, but we're going to get rid of it, take the plates and
I think a strong
get it off the insurance roll.
make it disintegrated.
Yeah.
At this
Sounds
point.
like we have
Judy might be able to get $20 for the scrap
Yeah, we
steel.
might be able to sell it for scrap.
Surprised.
So we should take it off the insurance roll for sure, yeah, exactly.
So I did send out the Excel sheets just for the budget for everyone's FYI. So we're starting to work on that. The next big date is going to be Governor Healy is going to be posting her budget probably in the next week or two. And that's obviously going to impact where we're going to be with cherry sheets. Growth for the state is looking to be like, I think they quote about 2.7% with the millionaires tax. Without that, it would be like a 2.4, 2.5% increase. So the state's going to be looking at not a lot of growth on their side. So we're just going to have to hold our breath, wait and see. But that'll be kind of the first indicator of where things are going to be going, especially with our cherry sheets, our Chapter 70 money, rural aid, all that stuff. So unrestricted government aid, we're going to get a better picture of where that's going to go. And then if we're trying to schedule the meetings for the department, so if you just remind Judy, let her know what's your best availability. And today also I just want to throw in that in preparation with the GIC, we met with the flexible spending account provider, CPA 125, just to start that process to get them on board and start working with the treasurer's office to transition to the GIC on July 1st. And then I did just get done with Novus, our annual meetings. I'm just waiting for them to send over the spreadsheet. So it's been a couple hours with them just going over cybersecurity, AI integration, hardware, network issues, FY27 costs, and things like that. So.
Okay, all right. Any questions? All right. If not, how about any meetings that anybody's had over the last couple weeks? John, anything on your end? Select board liaison meetings?
I don't think so. The last one was the central budget hearing. So no, I haven't had any the last 2 weeks.
Okay. Stephen?
I'll summarize and take questions. Assessors is very busy and stressed department right now. We've discussed the issues around valuations and when and how often revaluations are done and whether we're up to date or not. The tax rate is outside of the assessor's purview, but it funnels into generating a bill. Then the bill is payable to the treasurer collector, but people still need a hell of a lot of guidance on each step of the way. That's the current wave of ordinary work. But as we're trying to make sure that we're doing equitable taxation and that every taxpayer or every landowner is paying their due, we have complex questions about taxing personal property, taxing the Holyoke water supply, watershed lands, and whether we have more opportunities to gain revenue from their operations. And just generally making sure that we don't lose track of ownership of various properties. And of course, if you've got so many thousands of parcels, there will be 1% or 2% of error, but we're trying to track that down. And some of those puzzles are complex and actually really important. So I've stirred the pot pretty hard with the assessors on some of these special projects, just when they're actually overwhelmed with the ordinary business of tax assessing. Green-White Committee, no business, postponed to February 25, so that's an update on mytowngovernment.org. Everyone knows how to find agendas and minutes, mytowngovernment.org. Housing Authority and Trust meet this week or next week, nothing to report. Open Space Committee met last week and had an extremely comprehensive meeting about what we've accomplished with the Mountain Waters Project, what was left undone, what we're committed to working through based on the special town meeting votes, and new opportunities in partnership with Kestrel Land Trust. Again, you know, it may not be the most active real estate market, but there are opportunities out there, and we're trying to figure out what's best. Finally, the Water Commission. I'm not liaison, I'm elected, but since we seldom get an update, I must confess again that I've been too much on public media. I actually responded to a commenter on public media, and the question in this regard was around hiring freeze. And so, yes, there's a commissioners meeting this week, Thursday night, the 22nd. I believe it starts at 6. Check mytowngovernment.org. And the public, of course, is welcome and will take any questions. Finally, bridges and roads, another confession. I made a comment on Facebook that maybe was more helpful than the prior mention about the situation we have with the Pomeroy Meadow, West Street, Easthampton to Southampton debacle. And it's going to take time to figure out the way forward. Scott's been diligent reporting on that, but not everybody watches these meetings, and it might be a bulletin under special projects or somewhere on our homepage, just to deflect these annoying questions. But we just got a report on 2 bridges, and since we're on television, I want the public to know that the state is responsible for inspecting any bridge with a clear span of 20 feet or more. And they do this on a rotating basis, and they provide us extremely detailed reports. You think Arlo Guthrie had 8 by 10 color photographs with arrows and notations. These are really complex. And generally, we're in good shape. And the road department is keeping track of this. And in fact, using Chapter 90 funds are being applied where they're needed. But the need on Pomeroy Meadow is of a different magnitude, and we certainly are on top of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Okay. Ellen.
I met with CPC and the Board of Health last week. CPC set their annual meeting and public hearing for February 25th coming up. So soliciting some ideas for outreach for CPA funding. Worked on to try to come up with some more ideas for a little bit more public engagement and try to get the word out that the money is there, and it's if people have projects that they think might be eligible for it, that's the time for the meeting is the place to be, and that's the time to bring that in. So we talked about using some of the signs around town. The Women's Club sign.
Mother's Club sign.
Mother's Club, sorry. The Mother's Club sign. It's whether it's to promote that a little bit. Sierra was excited. She was admitted to the Housing Leadership Academy. So
nice.
More ideas for the Housing Trust. And so she's working hard on that, pretty excited about it. And for the Board of Health, to come back down, we have there's a new septic regulations kicking in on February 1st. To mandate direct access for any new septic systems going in, so that it doesn't require excavation for the inspections. And the rest of that meeting, we had quite a few updates on some distressed properties around town and the status of those, and it was really interesting to find out what those folks face and some of the solutions that we're coming up with.
Okay.
Sounds good?
Yeah, I know they've had their hands full with a couple of the properties around town.
Yes, they have.
Indeed. Okay. On my end, not too much. We have a master plan implementation committee meeting coming up in the next couple weeks. We've had a bylaws committee meeting scheduled for next Wednesday, so a week out from Wednesday, and we're still working on the scenic roads bylaw, which is one that we hope to have ready for the annual town meeting. And then The Grants Committee has met, and we've been working with Greenway Committee, basically, on the Mass Trails grant, which is due very soon. And we'll be meeting again one more time before that application has to go in the hopper. We did find out that we did not receive the Assistance to Firefighters grant that we had applied for. This is the FEMA grant we applied for, well, basically a year ago now. And that would have been for some updated breathing apparatus for the firefighters, but more importantly, the second grant request was for our pumper tanker truck. And in spite of the money that FEMA finally gave out in October, November, we were not among the awardees. There was a second thing that I think people saw on the news about congressionally directed spending. There's money that came out through the state legislature, I believe through, this is where the senators and congressmen can put forth a request for various towns about funding requests. We were not lucky on that one. We have provided requests to the CDS funding requests for the last 3 years, and we have not been successful yet. So we need to rethink our strategy on that and have more contact, I think, with Congressman Neal, Congressman Senator Markey, and Senator Warren, and their staff in particular, to help lobby some of that. And they will probably announce those being open again sometime early in the spring. They put out a request to say, do you have anything you'd like us to support? And so we were not among the lucky ones this time, but at least they're trying to do something, I guess, to get money out to the community. So we will keep trying. Grant money it's there, but it's gotten tighter to try and get a handle on. So that's it, I think, from my end. Anybody have any comments, questions about reports? If not, okay. Let's move on to new business then. Scott, I'm going to turn this one over to you. I think Budget Task Force.
So one of the things that I mentioned at the last meeting with the FinCom was developing a budget task force moving forward with FY27. If you looked at the budgets I sent out, there's a lot of yellow, which was things that are big question marks, both on our revenues and our expenditures. And this year, I think we're going to have to be very flexible in how we kind of move forward. We don't know what the state is going to be providing for us and for revenue. We still have to do our analysis on the other things, although, building permits are a part of it. It's not as much as it is like our cherry sheets and Chapter 70 money, rural aid, and things like that. On the other side, with our expenditures, there's still going to be a lot of question marks on the expenditure side. Health insurance is a big one. Open enrollment for the GIC is going to be in April. It's going to last until May, and that's just, a few weeks before town meeting at that point. So, that can swing a couple $100,000. So, the same thing with Hampshire Regional School and a lot of our other costs. So in previous years, we kind of waited for the schools to give us the budget and kind of reacted. And I think that we need to really start working with all the different stakeholders to get together and forming a lot of different scenarios. So at least we're prepared for the worst and hoping for the best. But I think it's, we need to start looking at scenarios and, doing 4, 5, 6, 7 different options about where we could go and what our priorities are, and where we would put the funding if we do receive funding, and where we would make the cuts if we did have to make cuts.
So how will we go about this task force idea then?
We can do it informally. We just obviously be careful with the quorums. The school committee is obviously the biggest one, select board, and a few stakeholders, and then maybe even a few members of the public that we can invite to kind of work with us and get priorities and get some input. But just to kind of solidify if the select board wants to go that route or not.
Are you thinking of a charge? Us creating a charge for this task force? And here's why I asked that, Scott, because in the past when we've done charges, we've been very methodical on how we make up the membership of the group, or what we're kind of looking for. If, on the other hand, this is a think tank to support you, I don't know how deep we need to get into the weeds, but I don't know.
It sounds like it's a little bit less formal even than our ad hoc committees. I mean, it sounds like more of a working group rather than a committee. Or am I hearing that right? Or?
Yeah, I think there would be meetings almost every week. Because things are going to be changing week by week. The governor's budget, the Senate, the houses, the funding, the health insurance, Hampshire Regional. All that stuff is going to be our collective bargaining agreements, those are all major cost drivers. So it's at least getting a group together that can at least help guide what each school committee and the select board and department heads are kind of thinking on what could be possible.
What I hear is beneficial is the cross communication in real time, especially in light of a rapidly changing situation with late occurring deadlines. So I think it's going to be dynamic, and writing a precise charter as opposed to, would you say, a think tank, I think that's great. And I hear the town administrator being thoughtful and inclusive about membership. So I'm not worried, except what I think we need to do is bless it and figure out who represents the select board.
Yeah, and I would just advocate, again, in the past however many years I've been sitting here, 5 years here and 8 years on the school board, that we try to get the, and I don't know who it is, whoever the senior elected Southampton resident on Hampshire Regional School Board, and work our way down. Not just focus on the North School Board, although it's important, but, you know, we have less insight into that, and our membership, if we're fully staffed up there, which I don't believe we are, is 54% of the weighted vote, and it takes a majority to pass something. So if our voting bloc is united, we should have a little bit more sway.
So maybe we should try to look for somebody from the Hampshire Regional Committee and somebody from the Norris Committee.
Yeah.
At least one of each of those, right? I mean,
Yeah, and I mean, just the way, and remember, one of the Norris School Committee members sits on the Hampshire, so you don't want it to be that person, right? You want, there are 5 elected people at Hampshire Regional. There are 5 seats. I don't know if they're all filled. So it should be one of those 5. So they have nothing to do with Norris, and they're not the representative going back and forth.
Right. Yeah. But I think this will be different, though, than the Select Board FinCom joint committee, though, too. But it
Additive.
doesn't preclude somebody from each Select Board and FinCom being part of it as well? Or would you rather not do that?
No, I think at least one person from each of them, but obviously quorum, I think just, you know, I would have it one person FinCom, one person from Select Board, one person from Hampshire Regional, one person from Norris, myself, Superintendent Eliza, and maybe a couple citizens, so we're looking at maybe about 9 people.
Yeah, and it'd be great to get citizens that don't sit on any board or any commission whatsoever, because if they like it, maybe they'll get involved.
How true.
If we can find them. How would you like to
Well,
proceed?
there's 6,270 of them out there.
Well, I mean, if it's okay, I mean, I can send a formal letter to all the different groups with that, and I can do a call for action for any citizens that might be interested in.
Yeah.
Present them to the select board next meeting, and go from there.
Would your idea be to have them also be around for the budget hearings that we're doing, or?
Not necessarily the budget hearings, because I think that's more of a FinCom select board role as the ultimate decision makers on that. I think it's more for recommendations and coming up with the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 scenarios.
Got it.
And then maybe once we get further down the project, then we can present, you know, and the picture becomes clear, then we can present that to the FinCom and select board as a whole.
Right. Well, I think it would be helpful, as you put out a call for action, or whatever you want to call this, that you put out a paragraph of what's intended, you know, not only what's the purpose, but what's the goal of you guys getting together. So whatever that is, I think would be
Time
good. So,
commitment.
exactly, that's what I meant, when
The
he's,
implied willingness to bring information to the table is
so I
pretty
think
important.
that's, you know, imperative to put that out. So with that, would you like us to make a motion to have you create a budget task force as kind of a working group to guide us through this process this year for a change? Just try something new? All right, would somebody make a motion for that?
So moved.
All right. Do I have a second?
Yes.
All right, a second by Ellen. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right, okay. We'll let you take the lead on that and then get back to us in terms of what that's starting to look like, okay? All right, insurance broker discussion.
So with joining the GIC, it does mean that we have to look for an insurance broker. In the past, Hampshire County Group Insurance Trust are providers for dental insurance, long-term disability, flexible spending accounts, which we didn't take advantage of. But with us going into GIC is just going to do the health insurance part for the town, which means we have to look on our own for dental insurance and all of our other insurances. So that means the town has to appoint a broker to go out to market for us. One of the things I'm looking at doing is besides going out for dental, obviously, but also our insurances. So, instead of having Geico and Boston Mutual and the Standard, I would like to have just one insurance company for the entire town to provide all of our voluntary insurances, so long-term, short-term, cancer, accident, all those types of insurances, and hopefully we can get a better rate by doing it that way instead of having just a bunch of different insurance companies reaching in and trying to get our employees. So that would be part of it. There's also vision insurance, which I would probably look at doing as well. But ultimately, we need a broker to kind of go forward with that. There's a lot of brokers out there. I've heard a lot of horror stories that you're nothing but a number, and that they come in, they get your claims data, they send it out, they send you an email, and you never hear from them again. So that's what I really want to avoid. And so I want to just talk about the process of appointing a broker. So you don't have to do an RFP for a broker. It's an appointment by the select board or mayor or appointing authority. So I would recommend people that we've worked with before, that we have a proven track record. Personally, I've worked with Pete Roth in Chicopee, Wellesley, and Lawrence in the past. He's extremely hands-on. I would get texts from him every second day just seeing if there's any problems. I would think that he might be an option. Another person I've worked with before was Steve Corbin, who's now with Dowd Insurance. Steve was the Blue Cross rep with the city of Chicopee. He's a local person, very involved. He helped us with going out to bid previously to joining the GIC. So I just got the letter from Dowd today. But I mean, that would be my recommendation is looking, going that route. And we certainly can open it up. But time is also of the essence as well, because we have to get this done in the next 60 days.
And would you have any of the candidates come in and present something to us so that we could meet them and have a set of questions and answers, back and forth and dialogue with them?
Yep.
Do that?
Makes sense.
So, Chris,
Yeah, go ahead.
I understand Scott's spot, and you don't have to go through the RFP, but for this purposes, I'm just going to abstain from it. When you have the meeting,
Right.
I won't partake in it.
Right, yeah.
So,
Understood. Yep. In general, if I can ask, though, you think a broker is a way to go in terms of having somebody we know, though?
you asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, it's better than calling the 1-800 number.
Okay, that's kind of what I was thinking, too.
Yeah. And, not just Stephen,
Yeah.
but on Peter's side, both people that he's mentioned, they tend to have an experience with municipalities, which is a unique beast in
Yeah.
itself.
I mean, I think that's our challenge, well, not a challenge, but our requirement would be that they've got decent experience with a municipality and know what we're facing and the kinds of insurances and things that our employees would most likely, need to get. We've been pretty lucky, I think, on disability insurance for the most part. I don't think that we've had that many claims that I'm aware of. We've had a little bit on short-term at one point in time, but at one point we had looked at going into a whole different, short-term, long-term disability plan, and it was just a nightmare. When John Martin was on the board, we were trying to figure that out, and it was very complex to try and do it ourselves. So having somebody as that intermediary is probably a good idea. I would just suggest if there's a third person that we have maybe three, but I mean, if we've got at least two, I would say that I would think that could be a good idea. I would entertain a motion to have you proceed with moving forward with identifying a couple of these brokers and then figuring out when we could get them on the schedule to come in and talk to us. So I'll make that motion. Could I have a second?
And then?
All right, second by Ellen. Any further discussion? Stephen, anything?
I just wanted to pick up on something I thought Scott opened with, that it's a requirement of the program going forward that we have a broker. the question before us is how do we select a broker? Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, the broker works on our behalf to represent the town and the employees.
Understood.
Most insurance companies won't, I mean, we can certainly, I'm not a licensed broker, so.
No, I get it. I just wanted that foundational thing established, reestablished. I'm okay. We don't have to go out to bid. We have relationships. We need a good relationship running forward, so.
And this would be somebody, when we took somebody on, they would be with us for a number of years or something. We didn't have doing a contract with them of some sort, or how does that work?
Well, they'd be the broker, the letter of record for the town until the town appoints
So we
someone else.
changed, I see, okay.
It usually runs concurrent with your expiration dates.
Okay. Okay, all right, then I think we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right. And one abstention from John. Thank you. Okay. Next up, just on ARPA, so this is our ARPA time. We're still, we're not awarding any grants, obviously. We can't do that, but we still have probably, I believe we actually have four ongoing projects. I'm not positive if, I think the fifth one with Brandel's grant is finished now. So we have one with the software here at Town Hall. We've got the wildflower meadow garden on Pomeroy Meadow Road. We've just finished up with the 250th anniversary, and we're essentially finished with the Public Safety Building Committee ARPA money at this point in time, from what I'm understanding. So we're winding down on the reports. You guys have got the reports from the committees in your package, and then Bradley sent out, and I forwarded it around to you, all the ARPA financial report. So he's keeping track of how much has been drawn down on the various awards we've made. We do have some funds that are left over. Not every award has spent all of the money, and so part of it will be a reconciliation, which I'm hoping we can kind of do as we go, not have to wait, years from now to try and remember what we did, but to go back and just double check and reconcile that, yes, indeed, that grant, that project was awarded for X amount, and they spent all of it, or they didn't spend all of it, and there's this much left. I think our challenge is not knowing what we do with the money that's left, because ARPA technically finishes at the end of this calendar year. And so, like with the CARES Act, at some point in time, ARPA will come calling, the feds will come calling and want their money back, I'm assuming. So we've got to be very careful that this sits somewhere unspent, untouched, until we know.
Preferably making some interest.
Huh?
Making some interest.
I don't know. I don't think it is. I don't know where it is. I don't think we can.
Can I back you up a bit?
So I think at this point in time, we right now, it just it looks like we've got about 150,000 thereabouts that's still kind of in play, that is still to be accounted for, but we've expended over $1.8 million out of the ARPA money that we were awarded by the government. Okay, yeah, Stephen.
So in each of the grants previously awarded, where the total award has not been expended, are you still accepting? No.
Cannot, no, we had to stop
No more
awarding any.
billing.
Yeah, no, we had to stop awarding those
So this is
a year
just
ago. Yeah.
accounting now.
This is just accounting now. This is just finishing the projects, and like I said,
Can't
there's-
go buy more seeds for
No.
the wildflower garden.
Can't do it, no.
All right.
No, so this is the end of that. So that process is coming out, and I will do some updating on the website to show the tracking and so forth, but we've been doing a good job. I think Judy's been doing the application tracking, the quarterly report tracking, and we'll get some of these facts and figures up on the webpage under the Select Board page, so people can take a look at them. Okay, that's all we have on that. Next up, canal bowling fees. We have an email in our packages from Canal Bowling. Lisa Yamakowski, who's the trustee for the Canal Bowling Lanes Trust, and so we have a request, I think the way I understand this, we have a request to take a look at the fees that are being charged to the bowling alley. So one, she would like to know if there's a rationale for a bowling alley fee. Right now, we're charging them $200 for an annual permit, and they're the only bowling alley in town. So it's kind of a question mark in my mind as to how and why that ever became a necessity, but it's on our books right now as one of our select board fees. She's also asking, on here, they have no more pool tables, but they turned their pool table area in the canal bowling lanes into a video arcade. And when she wrote this, they were somewhere around the 15 or so games, I think. I'm gonna lose my voice.
They don't pay per
And
machine.
we charge $75 per,
Establishment.
no.
No, it's per unit, per game.
Per coin-operated whatever. And I've got to find that fee. I had it up here a minute. Yeah, so it's a coin-operated device, $75 per machine, and that could be a jukebox, it could be a coin-operated pool table, and it's these arcades. So she's actually paid already, we just renewed these licenses under the alcohol and beverage license. So they've paid that, they've paid this $200 bowling alley fee, and then they've paid for 4 arcade machines that we've paid for now. But they're making it a real arcade destination, I guess I would say, at the bowling alley. So she's asking if we would cap this at $500 for the arcade fees going forward, and the rationale here is, if you recall, the bowling alley had been up for sale for a number of months, if not over a year, I think, for a while, and then they took it down, and the trustees have decided to make a go of it. And honestly, as I drive by certainly on the weekends and even on Mondays, they do have a pretty full parking lot, so it's good to see that that is really coming alive again. In order to make it functional, however, they had to do a huge septic project, which cost lots and lots of dollars. I think it was around $250,000 that they had to do for septic work behind the bowling alley, Tin Can Alley. And so she's asking for a little bit of a breather until they get really up and running. So I guess I'm a little bit confused because they've already paid the fees for this coming year.
Right.
And I don't know whether we want to just take a look at that for the future coming year, whether we want to talk about, she's not really, I guess this was after she'd paid the money. She's not really asking us for a refund, the way I'm understanding this, though. But I don't know, maybe you've talked to her directly. I have not gone into detail about this, but the one that seems a little bit odd to me would be the $200 bowling alley fee, which I don't see a real rationale for, given that it's the only one in town. If there were many of them, you do that. But
That's
other
not the
these,
issue.
I mean, I don't know. We've got things on the books already in terms of our fee schedule. So right now, the bowling alley is $200. The jukebox type thing, the coin ops are $75. They don't have a common vic, so they've got the alcohol on the premises license as well. So that's what they are right now. So they've paid their license for 26. So I'm not quite sure what the real ask is of us right now. But go ahead. Anybody? John, go ahead.
Well, that, I don't know what the ask is either, but what I will say is that we charge the fee because Mass General Law, Chapter 140, specifically allows it, because back in the day, bowling alleys were associated with noise complaints and increased calls for service and a gathering point for kids. So whether we have one bowling alley or we have 50, it doesn't matter. The law says that we can charge it. We have charged it. Going forward, should we charge that? I don't know, but I think because we're doing it under Mass General Law, there should be a special vote of the citizens to drop that section of the law, not just the select board to do it. As far as the vending machines, I call them vending machines, but machines that take quarters.
Yeah.
There are plenty of other establishments in town that each machine that takes quarters, whether it be a pool table, a dartboard, they get charged per unit. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, or what my position is on it, but short of us putting something before the voters and the voters saying, yes, we're going to cap it at X, or whatever the case may be. And again, I'm not opposed to these things. But to go back and do it retro for this one, if that's what's being asked, means, it tells me we're being unfair to the whole group.
Yeah,
and we shouldn't do that.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And I think that's where I'm not totally clear what the real ask is for now. She's talking about the fees being capped for the arcade being capped at 500 going forward. So I would take that for next year.
Yeah, but right now, the law says it's per unit, so we can amend it
Right.
and change it by a bylaw. All in favor, if we're going down the road of a bylaw that will apply equally to
Right.
future
Yeah.
applicants, I support that, just nothing retro.
Yeah,
I would not consider anything retro, and I don't read the request as such. It's a question about what is good policy going forward. But I want in context, thank you, John, it's MGL context that for rationale.
And I don't recall us
Except
ever,
John.
I don't recall ever having an arcade of size in town, so I don't think the town's ever had to deal with this before.
No, we've got-
Her
there's
request
two other-
seems very reasonable.
yeah, there's 2 other establishments I think that we gave coin-op licenses to. One was Camp John and one was Paisanos. And they each have two
The pool tables.
units, yeah, they have 2 units each. And
If we had
that's
a
their,
diner with a jukebox on every table.
Yep. Easthampton Diner.
Yeah, so there's a question on the table whether it's reasonable going forward. But there's nothing to be done about the license paid and issued and valid, including what they had as the moment that they renewed. I don't know if there's any obligation to revisit it as a tool up, but
right. No, I think they were asking for our consideration, given that they did decide to stay in town, did decide to keep
Love
it
it.
as
Thank
an
you.
entertainment center,
Love it.
bigger than just the bowling alley, and had to invest a whole
So
lot more
glad.
money than they ever imagined they would have to invest to keep it there. So I think that was the
Yeah.
request. And if anything, I don't see us doing much for now, given that it's already been paid, but I think we could take a look at it going forward and
Agreed.
have some thoughts about how we could amend anything. But
good
Is she
one for the
looking to
bylaw
add?
committee.
She's saying to cap at 500, so is it looking
they've
to add
added, so
more?
they've made the arcade now, so they've got more than the 4 now. Because they've taken out, they had a couple pool tables in the area, and they've taken out those pool tables and made an arcade instead. So they,
Ready for a motion?
so I guess, yeah.
Move we refer this to the bylaw committee.
Second,
I'm not sure what bylaw this falls under. Okay, as I hear a second, do you happen to know the
I will send it to
MGL
you.
off the
Yeah.
top of your ear?
140.
140? Okay.
Help is
not sure if
available,
we-
I'm sure, but
I think this actually came out, and it may not be a bylaw, because this comes under select board fees, so it might be a fee modification someday in the future or something like that, that would have to go, we would, but I think your recommendation, John, would be that it would go, normally we would do that, and I don't believe that goes to town meeting, but you're recommending that in this case, we would make it go to town meeting, is what I'm thinking I heard.
Well, I believe bylaws have stronger teeth than select board whims of fee schedules. Today, the 4 of us agree, and tomorrow we're replaced. And
Right.
Versus if the citizens vote it,
Yeah.
then I'm not going to deny
Okay.
it.
especially if we're customizing what tools are available to us under MGL.
Yeah, and that's right, I need to just research MGL 140, if that's what it is. I'm not that familiar with it, so. Okay, well, anyway, it came before us to discuss and just let us know what they're asking and thinking, and not a total ask by any
I'm
means.
so glad that they wrote to us rather than just grumbling.
Right, yeah.
around town.
Yeah, so I think that's fine, and I hope that they can make a go of it with this arcade. It sounds like quite an investment in that regard, but I think they're hoping to draw in a broader crowd and a different demographic, maybe, some younger folks that would go and do that. So
Change down there. now.
sounds good.
So I'll let Lisa know that retroactive, but we're going to look, not retroactive, but we're going to look forward to potential
Yeah,
changes.
we'll take a look and see how we can, whether it's a bylaw or how we can abide by Mass General Law. Because one of her questions was, why is there a fee for a bowling alley and not a country club? It's like, well, I don't know. Without looking at Mass General Law, I don't know
That's it.
that we can answer that yet. So we'll take a look at that, and we may have to expand that a little bit, but, okay. Next up, 250th anniversary, next to nothing. We're done. We're going to have a wrap-up meeting, just to see where we are. There's some desire to do some sort of a time capsule, which I haven't figured out with people yet, but we'll have a meeting and discuss that.
Having a
But we had a-
closeout sale on the merchandise.
Yeah, we may have a fire sale on the merchandise. We've got some merchandise left, too. So if people still need some merchandise, I'm sure we're going to have a meeting and do a discounted price But we have some glassware, wine glasses in particular, I think we have left. And we've got Lucy's just taken an inventory of what we have left, so we'll have a meeting and talk about that. We have the 250th of the country, obviously, this year, so 250 is on some of the items, but it does say Southampton 250th in many of them, so it may not translate, but it might translate to the anniversary of the country as well, who knows. But just to say that if anybody's interested in doing some celebration for that, this committee will be dissolving, and so this would be a new committee that would have to form itself to take on any kind of celebration in that regard. Okay, Zero College Highway update, Scott.
So it looks like we have a date that is going to be set. Easthampton Media is on board for doing the production of the meeting, as well as a promotional video. I did want to maybe just brainstorm briefly about where we might be able to have this. One of the things is it's not just really an unveiling, but it's also going to serve as a promotional video for potential, housing partners, for commercial people, commercial interests that might be interested in the land. For the state, when we submit grants, we can use the video as a promotional tool as well. So I really want it to look good. So one of the concerns is, it's going to be a PowerPoint presentation with Dodson, Flinker, and PVPC. With maybe about 30 or 40 people. We're going to try to get into attendance. But I was just thinking where we might be able to have it. Library would be a nice place, but it's a little bit too small. This room, we talked about the wiring, not probably because we're going to need to use, not probably the best thing. I mean, there could be Norris School, potentially in a classroom, or I think a gymnasium might be a little bit too big. So I just wanted to, throw it out there about potential places that we could have it.
Well, from the new kid in town, church or country club?
Oh, I didn't think of that. Southampton Country Club?
Yeah, I have no idea whether it's available for such purposes, but in some towns they are.
Yeah, I don't know, on church-wise, do we have to worry about things like church and state?
I think it's just hosting a program. I think that's okay.
It wasn't an issue when we paid to repave the parking lot.
That's because of the community covered.
There you go.
The community.
Autumn air conditioning.
Possibilities, I guess, in both. There is the downstairs room at the Congregational Church, for sure.
I don't know what the...
I think both would charge a fee for room use. So, yeah, I guess they could be explored. So you're thinking a limited crowd, though?
30, maybe?
Oh.
Elected officials, we'll invite the congressmen, the state senators, state reps,
Okay.
the economic development team from the state, all the stakeholders from the town, open space, cemetery commission, green communities, planning board, ZBA, select board, school committee, everyone. So yeah, it'll probably be about 30 to 40 people.
Be at least that, I would think.
Yeah, it could
Could be more.
go
Or, yeah.
wide standard deviation.
Figured, COA and the building
COA,
committees.
Public
and
safety.
Public
yeah.
safety,
Oh, yeah,
okay.
both of those for sure.
Yeah.
And perhaps the whole committee would be wanting to come.
I would not be
Otherwise,
surprised.
sort of, inviting chairs, but, and not to exclude people.
No, I think you need to be broader than just the chairs. Personally. I do. And do you have a rough idea of timing on this then?
Before the middle of February.
Okay.
So in the next couple of weeks, I want to
I want to say the one date that emerged today?
Yeah, I think it was probably February 10th.
February
It's probably
10th in the evening.
the quickest.
In evening?
Yep.
Evening meeting?
So that is not confirmed, but it is the front-running candidate for sure.
Okay.
With the meeting space, the variable.
Yeah.
Got to get that confirmed.
If it was warmer weather, I'd have it on the property, but
Yeah.
I don't think we want to do that this time.
A heated tent would be expensive.
Okay, well, that's our problem in town. There's not very many meeting venues that, hold a good population of people. Yeah, can't think of anything else, actually. Okay, well, you want to explore that and then get back to us on that and
Yeah,
let us know?
I'll check with the country club and church. That might,
Wouldn't it be
Look at it.
nice to do it upstairs at the old town hall?
not right now.
That would be-
One day.
That would be quite a filming challenge.
One day.
Yeah, I'm going to need a clean out first. Get the recycle truck over there.
Octopus out of there.
Yeah. Okay, all right, so does that give you enough information to go with? Okay, and then we'll wait to hear from you. Okay, any other business? I can't wait for the next regular select board on February 3rd. Anything out there for anybody?
Nope.
Okay, then we have some minutes to approve.
Madam Chair, I move to approve without exception the minutes of June 16, 2025, November 10, 2025, December 6, 2025, December 9, 2025, and December 23, 2025.
Second.
All right, I have a second. I just have a couple that had some spelling errors, which I can work on with Judy. It's just spelling of names, people's names that were mentioned, that were guests at the meeting. So that was on the November 10th and the December 9th meeting, I believe. And if everybody's okay with that, I will work with Judy just to correct a couple spelling changes on those. So if we can do that with those changes, then I would take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, all right. Thank you, thank you. Glad to see we're getting caught up on the minutes. And we have warrants. Stephen, it's up to you.
I'm sure I've read some of these previously, but here we go again. P 26-26, the amount is $383,808.33. PD 26-26, the amount is $68,896.72. PD 26-26A, the amount is $346,291.21. W 26-27, the amount is $141,432.75. P 26-28, the amount is $342,079.18. PD 26-28, the amount is $54,861.43.
Okay.
Amen.
And it looks like with the information that Bradley put out, we've got expenditures through January 15th and revenues through November 30th, I believe I saw.
November 30 is what I saw.
All right. So if anybody has any comments or questions on those, take a look through them. There's lots of detail in there. We've got obviously the payroll and the vendor warrants, but then a lot of those were insurance-related ones, I believe, as well. Okay, old business, just probably anything on the FY24 audit. How are we doing, Scott, with getting information into them? I know they finished their field work here, I assume, at this point, or are they coming back?
Still plugging away.
Oh, are they?
So all the field work has been completed.
Yeah.
So.
Are we doing better at getting all the information from the treasurer's office up to them, or?
Yep, every couple of days I get the notification that things are being submitted.
Okay. Don't have an idea of when they might be done with their work at this point, though?
As soon as possible.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, it's just a lot of uncovering. I mean, we were talking about 2 years ago, so with the record keeping and everything, it's just a matter of pulling it out. Like today, the Bank of Western Mass came up, which hasn't been in business for like 15 years.
Wow.
So we have to decipher where the money's been going. So that's just like one example. So Megan's got her job cut out for her.
I guess.
Nothing like a good example. Hopefully the money's coming into us from the Bank of Western Mass and not going out somewhere in the blip.
Exactly. Hope so. Okay. And while we're on the subject of finances, how are we doing on free cash?
Scarier than
Free cash, hopefully best case scenario the 30th, worst case February 6th.
Okay. That'll be a lot earlier than we've ever had free cash certifications.
That's probably for an update, so best case if you can get just a few of the reconciliations with the Treasurer's Department, and there's a few school things that you need to clean up. So the biggest hurdle was a miscalculation from a year and a half, 2 years ago. Megan was able to reconcile on the treasurer's department to balance the books with Bradley. So that was the biggest one. So that's been done. So hopefully if there's no speed bumps, it should be January 30th.
Great. All right, glad to hear that. Okay, nothing else, I believe. So we have our next select board meetings on February 3rd and February 17th.
So just a reminder, February 3rd, I will be out of state, but I can participate via Zoom.
Okay, good. Thanks for reminding me on that one. Yep. Perfect. Okay. So with that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Everybody's in favor already ahead of time. All right. We are
Are we signing minutes?
adjourned at 7:30 PM.
Just a question.
We can sign the minutes. I can correct the